What's going on, guys? Matt back again. This time for a college football review, I guess you can call it. I don't know if you can tell, I'm wearing a Gamecock shirt. I'm a big South Carolina fan. We had a miserable game this past weekend against North Carolina, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the top 10, my top 10 going into this season. I'm going to do it a little differently. Everyone always says that each season should account for itself. You shouldn't look back at what you did last year because you have new players, and they're right. But what I'm going to do is I am going to count the postseason of last year, mainly just because it's more fun for me to do it that way. So my rankings, the top four will be the who were in the four spots in the playoff last year, and the way they're ranked will be determined by who won, who lost. So obviously, my top four going into the season was Clemson, Alabama, and then Notre Dame because they lost to the champion, and then Oklahoma because they lost to the runner-up. So that's my top four: Clemson, Alabama, Notre Dame, Oklahoma. After that, I went and looked at who else was in the big bowl games and if they won or lost. So next at number 5, I have Ohio State because they were ranked. I have it right here. Number 6 going into their bowl game against the number 9 Washington Huskies, and they won that game. So they come in at number 5. And then at number 6, I have Texas. Texas at number 6 because they beat Georgia in their bowl game. So I have to put, because those were the last games played, I can't put Georgia over Texas, especially with like how it is right now. Texas is in the hunt just as much as Georgia, and the last time those two teams played, Texas won. So I have to rank Texas above Georgia. So Texas is in at number 6, and right behind them is the team that they beat last year, Georgia. After them at number 8, I have Florida, who Georgia beat. And then after Florida is LSU. Now you might say, well, hold on. LSU beat Georgia last year, so how does that make any sense? Like I said, I'm just going to off the bowl games. The reason, that's just how it worked out. I mean, Georgia beat Florida last year. I know LSU beat Georgia, but then with Florida beating LSU last year, I had to put Florida over LSU, and that's just how it worked out. Texas, Georgia, Florida, and then LSU at number 9. And my final team on this top 10 is Michigan. They were the highest ranked team of the big bowl games last year. They lost, but they were the highest ranked one going in. Now, that's going into the season. Now, after watching week 1, I have to say the most disappointing team on this list is Florida. Everyone watched the Florida-Miami game. It was the season opener. And Florida didn't look very good. I think they turned the ball over, I don't know, 3 to 5 times or something. They did it a lot. I don't expect them to turn the ball over that many times the rest of the season. And, you know, they had a week less to prepare. Them and Miami had a week less to prepare than the rest of the teams. So you could say, I don't know how big of a factor the last week of practice is. Maybe it's huge. I don't know. I never played college football, but it could be huge for all we know. Now, after watching week 1, and watching all these teams and what they did, Clemson blows out Georgia Tech. Alabama blows out Duke. Notre Dame beats Louisville team that many are surprised with how Louisville looked better than they did last year. However, Notre Dame won the game, so they remain in the 3rd spot. Oklahoma, who they beat? They blew out Houston. And then Ohio State blew out, I think they played a cheat team. And then it was all blowouts. Texas blew out whoever they played. Georgia pretty much blew out Vandy. Florida, like I said, had to struggle against Miami. However, they won. They won. I'm not going to drop a team based on performance. If they drop, it's only because someone behind them just had a stellar performance in whatever game they play. LSU beat the cheap team they played like 55-3, but I'm not going to hop them over Florida because Florida won their game. Michigan, I can't remember who they played. I have it right here. Michigan played Middle Tennessee. Yeah. Wow, Middle Tennessee put 21 points on them. That's not good. But, yeah, Michigan number 10. So my top 10 stays the same after week 1. Now, fortunately for us, we have Clemson playing A&M, which is going to be a big game. And then in my top 10, you have LSU and Texas, which is that's the game I'm looking forward to the most. Because the Clemson game, that's at Clemson. I don't really think Clemson's going to lose that game. I'd be pretty surprised if they did. But let me bring the camera back. Yeah, this Texas LSU game is very interesting. Very interesting. But there you have it. That's my top 10 so far. I look forward to chaos happening. Hopefully the top 4 doesn't stay the same the whole season. Hopefully we'll get a bunch of changes throughout. That always makes the season more interesting. It's never fun when you have 1 or 2 teams at the very top that just sit there all season until they finally play. That's how it's been the last couple of years with Clemson and Alabama. That's most likely how it will be this year with Clemson and Alabama. But, yeah, because I don't know who else can compete with them. Alabama has Georgia mentally. They just have them mentally right now. I would like to see a Clemson-Georgia matchup. I think that would be interesting. You know, if there's any team other than Alabama that can beat Clemson, maybe Georgia's it. I don't know who else on this top 10 is really going to do it. But, you know, and Georgia's going to have to do more than run the ball. But anyway, they don't play this year unless they meet in the playoff. But that's kind of the matchup I want to see just as a college football fan. But anyway, I understand if you don't like this kind of format of ranking, going off of what they did last year. I completely agree with people that say that you should base it purely on this season. There's a guy on YouTube, Mark Rogers. He has a college football channel. He does a top 25 that actually makes sense, and he bases it on who wins or the win you have and all that stuff. So, like right now, his number 1 is Auburn because they have the biggest win so far. And I think that's completely fair. It's just for me, it's more fun this way because I just feel like whoever leaves the last season on top should enter this season on top. And then if they lose in the first 3 weeks, that's fun. That's chaos. That's what you want. But you know, Clemson left the season last year with the crown. They enter this year with the crown. And we're going to see who can knock it off of them. But I doubt it's going to happen until the postseason, if at all. But if you agree or disagree with any of these selections, let me know in the comments below. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for future videos, and y'all have a good one.